One who has an Aquarius moon may think of oneself as oneself. There is a type of detachment with the Aquarius moon which no other sign can quite handle in the same way. They have a way of just being able to just switch off, change unexpectedly, like you would have no indication. There would be no indication of something changing up until a split second before, and the Aquarian moon temperament has changed. Whether the Aquarian moons are aware of this entirely, or unless people have actually said to them, you're a little bit weird. Yeah, you change kind of just randomly. You're a bit unpredictable. These are things that at some point in one's life an Aquarian moon might have heard. In the same way that they're quite detached and quite changeable, the Aquarian moon also is the best at making friends, whether that is more or less often these days, it may be in an online kind of context where there is that detachment aspect, but still the bonding, there's still that stimulation coming from a number of different characters. Uh, yeah, the Aquarian moon really thrives on, all these synapses firing, being stimulated by, a fair few different things. I mean, the Aquarian moon can recognize when something has become routine or boring, like more or less more than most. The Gemini moon will notice shit's just getting freaking boring and they're out of here, But for the but they might in some ways like some sort of consistency in the kind of things they like writing and reading and watching, etc. The Aquarius moon, there is just no sense of predictability. What they might have liked yesterday, they might really not like today. Or, their favourite food, the next day they could just be super over it, Like there's a lot more unexpected unpredictability in their change. So they tend to headify, I think I just made that word up, but they tend to bring up the emotions up here. Yeah. They tend to analyze the hell out of an emotion. So, not necessarily the nostalgic kind of warm emotion, which, they need to remove from straight away in order to not be overtaken by it, which they definitely will do at some point. But pretty much any emotion, things just go through the brain. Uh, have to be broken down and understood. Yeah, there's something about breaking things down for Aquarian moons, and that's the same reason that need to break things down in order to understand the world around them in a very abstract, integrated kind of way. Is also why with friend groups and preferences for whatever it is, there's like an eclectic kind of quality here. There's a very they like to be able to see broad spectrum in order to integrate, because for them everything in this world is there's a oneness to it, you know and that oneness to it gives them that innate philanthropist slash innate humanitarian slash innate weirdo. Yeah, so there's definitely different ways that the Aquarian moon manifests, more so than any other moon. There will be so many different personalities with this moon type. Sometimes you're just going to have an Aquarian moon, not all that often, but sometimes you will have an Aquarian moon that isn't that social or doesn't really want to make that many friends in real life, maybe more just in the online world. That happens, that exists for sure. But more often or not, they want to make friends with, like, most bugs and people and animals. And yeah, if you get the picture, that's sort of where I'm heading, is that everything, including this microphone, including this globe, everything all has a purpose, a place. They're cool with trying to bring that all together. They might not like everything. They might not like actual people and their emotions and their weirdness, but they like the concept. So conceptual is definitely a word for the Aquarian moon, or just anyone with a lot of Aquarian or Uranian energy. Um, their way of identifying will be through how they're not something. So although they like to integrate, their way of being nurtured emotionally is to be doing things that others don't. To be unique. They need to feel emotionally very much themselves. They need to be different. They need to react differently to situations. They need to have different likes compared to their main group of friends or society or whatever else it is. So that's where the contradiction lies, I think, the most with Aquarians is that need and want for unity and to bring it all together. But to be nourished, they need to be different. You know, see things differently, feel things differently, just be different. And different to the Aquarius sun in that their identity isn't so much wrapped up in this differentness. It's an emotional need that they may not even be fully aware of until they break it down, until you break it down now in understanding what having an Aquarian moon is. So yeah, I think the world of chaos, which most people may find very destabilizing, the Aquarius moon will kind of thrive or create that. So if there's too much routine, they'll blow out the routine and create some sort of chaos. Or if there's a whole lot of chaos happening, they'll thrive in that environment a bit better. So there might be a lot of, say if they've got a ton of Capricorn, or you have a ton of Capricorn, and there is that want for structure and stability, this Aquarius moon will basically dictate that there may be this structure and there may be that conformity, but on some level you are not a conformist. Like through and through, you are not someone that feels great when you're just another person amongst society. So you may strongly need structure, but a part of you will be creative. A part of you will thrive when you're doing your own thing in your own way. Um, so what have I gone on about? So the humanitarian aspect, the uniqueness. Oh, and with this, because emotions are kind of like, as in more warm human emotions, because one is partially in some way Spock, and Spock kind of detaches from all these lower emotions, um, they can, because you are human still, you may have alien DNA, but you're still human, those emotions will definitely creep up in some way or another. So, frontal cortex may be in charge a lot of the time, may have a very evolved frontal cortex, but you're still human, and there will still be certain triggers, certain situations, certain things, jealousy, anger. These things you consider to be lower, or you're more evolved than these things, they are still in your DNA and they will catch up. So if you don't find a healthy outlet for these, they can cause you to be quite volatile at times, or quite spontaneous in that it causes a fair bit of disruption with you and your partner, you and your friends, you and your workmates, whatever else it is. So being able to bring down and utilize your weirdness or your uniqueness, or you might feel jealousy, let that jealousy be in your body. You don't have to necessarily unleash and react to whatever circumstance, but feel it, know it, it's yours. That is you having that emotion, and accept it, and then you can move on. But if you deny that you even have it, or you deny that it has a purpose, that's when you're going to get crazy. you know yeah. So, so I think supporting you, you need to have variety. You need to have connections, bridging things between different groups, different members of society, different interests, even in your own world. Being stimulated, being able to be educated and to think in a outside of the box way. Lateral thinking, creativity, super important. Definitely need to feel social. So, because Aquarians and anyone that has something in Aquarius rather than just a Uranus aspect is governed by both Saturn and Aquarius. And Uranus. So the Uranus needs that, whatever that is, just that change. But the Saturn in you, that part of you that needs a little bit of stability in some way or another, if that part of you is emphasized, falling into a type of depression where not only you hyperanalyze and you numb yourself to the world of emotion, but you also, in blocking off life force, aka emotion, yet again, you may not want to socialize. You may not want to be part of this sheep crowd. You may not want to become part of society for moments there. And that's fine. But just know that that is what is going to strengthen the depression or strengthen the feeling isolated from the rest of the world. So allowing yourself to be human. I can't give any more advice for an Aquarian moon than to allow yourself to be human. By nature, you're not going to be just this derelict, impulsive person all the time. There'll be a part of you that always brings you back to center, brings you back to what's important: friends, unity, stimulation. These things will always be there. But the more you repress the things that you don't believe are you or you don't want to own, the more they will own you. So yeah. So if you allow yourself to have intelligent friends, unconventional life circumstances, you allowing yourself to feel nourished. Even if it's a super weird pet, owning, I don't know, dragons and hamster's not that weird, but just allow yourself to be weird, basically. Yep. And I think that wraps it up for the Aquarian moon. Again, any questions, ask away. And since now I'm going to be more online than I have in the last few years by far, I can get back to you a lot sooner than I would otherwise. So yes, remember, house placement, aspects made by other planets will definitely alter the manifestation, but the essential part of the Aquarian moon is feeling connected to everything in a very conceptual way, and that needs a lot of stimulation. Yep. Okay, cool. Bye, guys. Bye bye.